What regulations out there do you think are most onerous that you really do need to take a second and third look at?
Well, the first thing we're going to do is look at Dodd-Frank, and it is way too complicated, and there's many aspects of it that we got to kill. There's many aspects of it that prevent banks from lending, and we need to make sure that banks lend. We want to see huge growth in this economy. It's small and medium-sized businesses, and we need to make sure that the banks are lending to them.
President-elect Donald Trump's choice for Treasury Secretary, saw him right there, Steve Mnuchin, outlining his plan for stripping back major parts of Dodd-Frank this morning with Maria. And, of course, that's all part of the thing that's got these animal spirits howling. Sounded more like the monsters from Thriller, but we'll take it for now. Listen, he is obviously eager to get banks lending, and that's not just good news for small businesses. That's good news for folks who want to start a home. That's good news for a lot of people out there who have been stuck in a rut. Joining me now to discuss, Mercedes Schlapp and Shah Gilani. Mercedes, I got to tell you something. I've always said there's two parts to getting an economy going and rekindling that Morning in America feeling that Ronald Reagan gave us. The mechanical part we understand, low taxes, get rid of regulations, but to spark something inside people, okay, I think we're already seeing it. I do it anecdotally. I talk to the guy across the street at the hot dog stand. I talk to the guy at the garage place. I'm telling you, people feel something, and part of economic success is self-fulfilling.
Well, I got to tell you, Charles, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. There is this sense of Donald Trump fighting for the little guy, fighting for the American worker. And, you know, I think what we talked about earlier about cutting the deal with the carrier company, it just shows his willingness to say, you know, we're just not going to give up. We're not going to let corporations just exit the United States. We want to, as they've said, get the cash back into the United States. Boost investment, and you do this by the more technical aspects of course, tax reform, regulatory reform. Obviously, with Dodd-Frank, that's a big issue, particularly when you think that over 1,300 commercial banks have disappeared, and that you have the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau serving as an unaccountable bureaucrat, basically wielding enormous amounts of power over the financial industry. These are serious issues that I think Donald Trump and his economic team are ready to tackle, and I think that's why you feel the sense of the economy feeling that we could move towards a 3 to 4% GDP growth.
Sure. I mean, Shah, people, you want to go to your local bank, you want to know the banker, have a relationship with them, and that relationship, to a degree, can supersede perhaps the paperwork. You know, they can take a shot because they've known you and they've watched you work for 10 years, and they know that you're a great bet, and they'll make that loan to you. That's how America used to work before the five or so banks became so big and have dominated the landscape. So that's part of the equation. The other part of the equation is me actually wanting that loan, and I think that's starting to bubble up.
That is bubbling up, and whether or not you'll be able to get a loan at a big bank remains to be seen. This is part of the problem. Definitely, without a doubt, Dodd-Frank is a boondoggle. It's 1,500 pages, and nobody really understands it. And I think it was written by a lot of lobbyists in order for the big banks, to be able to take advantage of what's inside of it. So, if this administration is going to reduce regulation properly, they got to figure out how to get banks to lend, not give banks free rein to do whatever they want to do and get themselves in trouble again, as they tend to do, but get them to lend again. And I think one of the ways to do that is make them increase the amount of capital reserves that they have to hold, and force them to lend, as opposed to go into other leveraged businesses where they're trying to extract major profits. Put them back in the lending business. That's what this country needs. That used to be called
Banking 101. And Mercedes, but also to that point, see, banks have said for the last several years, people don't want loans. Of course we want a loan.
Of course.
Right. I mean, we want people. People want to get out of their economic circumstances.
That's right. And you know what? They want to have the opportunity to build their small businesses, to be able to buy a home. I mean, we're talking right now that you're seeing home ownership at one of the lowest levels that we've seen in the United States in a long time. It's an opportunity for, you know, the mom and pop shops, for the small businesses to be able to have an opportunity, a chance again. When you're talking about less regulations, whether it would be from Obamacare or even from the banks, it allows them a chance to invest in their dream, in their American dream. And so I think that's why you're feeling the sense of economic optimism that's spreading not only in Wall Street, but I also think you're going to see it spill into Main Street.
Yeah, I'm like, forget about Wall Street. As long as it spreads in the heartland, that's what we're talking about. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.